We're going to have our speaker come up in a few moments, Mr. Lantieri, and I actually did a little research on his name, not the and when you look at the etymology of the name, where it comes from, in the Italian language, there's a name Lantera, which means a lamp or a light. And amazingly enough, Lantieri is one who lights the lamp. They were known as lamp lighters. It's not like we have today. We got the electric and those beautiful lights now with cameras and audio. You feel secure. But back in the day, in the town, you'd have someone that was their profession. They would go out at dusk, or they would go out in the morning. They would go out with a torch, and they would light the lamps in the town. So what we're praying for, and we're truly wishing a blessing on the word he brings today, is that, like his namesake, he wouldn't lamp physical lights anymore, but he would bring true light to men's hearts. Amen. And light the lamps of faith and those who hear his testimony. So we wish you nothing but true blessings, and why don't you come forward, brother, and give us your testimony. Thank you for having me. Just want to read two verses before we begin. Proverbs 14:11, no, 14:12, I'm sorry. There is a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So we all justify in our minds all the things we do that are right to God. And we say, it's okay. And we lie to ourselves so much that we actually believe it's okay. But when we search the book and look at the things we're doing, the truth is right here. We're not lying to nobody but ourselves. And I did that for a lot of years. Now if you turn to Matthew 7, verse 9. For what man is there of you whom if his son asks bread, will give him a stone? You could be the worst person in the world. If your child is hungry, you're going to give him food. Amen. It doesn't make you a good person. You could be the most wicked, evil person. You're still going to take care of your child. Or if he asks for a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall the Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask? But we have to come to him and we have to ask. It's not like it's due to us, like many of us feel everything's coming our way. God wants to be asked, just like you want your child to ask you. It's no different. And I just want to give you a testimony of my life. I grew up a Roman Catholic, and I believed there was a God, but the devils believe and tremble. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't really matter. When people say, I believe in God, it doesn't mean nothing to me. It's how you believe and how you worship God. The devils believe, but they're not worshiping God. So I grew up in a Catholic home, and my mother was a religion teacher, and she used to always try to preach to me, and I'd say yes, 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 smile. As soon as I left that door, I was out for trouble. Come home like an angel. I was only kidding myself. I fooled my mother and father plenty of times, but I knew what I was doing. But through all of those years, my mother used to sit in the living room in the afternoon, read a Bible, and then meditate. And God forbid you made any noise. You got beaten. Because that was her time with the Lord. We couldn't understand it as young kids, but as I grew,
I was surrounded by half of my family being involved in organized crime. And since I was a little kid, that was my ambition. I didn't want to be a fireman or a cop. I wanted to be a gangster. I seen them roll up in their Cadillacs with the jewelry, 20 girlfriends, even though they were married. Didn't matter. I wanted what they had. Even though my mother spoke to me contrary to that, we all pick up head. So, in the 80s, I got involved pretty heavily, right into the 90s. And into the 90s, I had quite a bit of power within the family that I was associated with, which was the most powerful of the New York 5 crime families. And I was involved in union corruption, bookmaking, hijacking, extortion, strong arming, anything there was a buck to be made in, I was involved. And the more money you made, the more they loved you because you had to kick up to them too. So it was a power trip where I thought I was like invincible. I had everything I wanted. I thought I loved my wife and kids, and I did love them, but not the way Jesus showed me how to love them when I came to know him. And it was around 1998. There was one particular customer that constantly borrowed money off of me, and was constantly late with an excuse on paying. And for like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row, this gentleman would come up short, and I'd have to beat him up. You go and you say, listen, I didn't collect from this guy. You better be in a hospital, because if he's walking around and nothing's wrong with him, then the problem becomes yours. So after the third week I beat him up pretty good. The following week I went to collect from him. This time he opened his door and he was in tears crying. And I was with another friend of mine who used to drive me around. And he said he wanted to kill himself. He needed to talk to a pastor or a priest. I said, you're talking to the devil. I don't know about those people. I don't want to know nothing about those people. Give me my money. So he said he wanted to kill himself. And there's a guy bawling, crying, probably 15 years older than me. And I said, listen, get me my money. I'll give you the gun. You could do it. But you're going to pay me first. Anyway, the person that was with me turned around and said to me, you know, look at this guy. Are you kidding me? Have a little heart for this guy. I was like, what are you talking about, have a little heart? And the guy that was with me made me look like a saint. I mean, it was amazing that this guy was saying this. And I'm looking at him and saying, what are you talking about? He said, well, you know, he says, every so often I go by this church and I'm friends with the pastor there. And I looked at him like, are you kidding me? He said, well, nobody really knows. But there's a men's meeting, and I think we should take this guy in and talk to the guy. This guy might kill himself. So I said, listen, if you want to take him, you can take him. I said, I don't want no part of no church, no nothing, no nothing. 7 o'clock that night, my friend picked me up. He said, come on, just take a ride. So I said, all right. I got in the car, went to that church, and didn't plan on getting out of the car, but obviously Jesus had other plans for me. So my friend said, Mark, just come in and meet this guy. He's a Brooklyn guy, you know, he used to be a bad guy years ago. So I went in, and there was like, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 men there. And they wanted to join hands in prayer. And I was like, I looked at them, and I gave them looks. If looks could kill, they would have all been dead. And I cursed them every name in the book. And I walked out. And I didn't get too far from the front of that church. And, you know, people say God spoke to me and this and that. Somebody was talking to me, and I know it wasn't my friend. There was nobody there. But the voice was in here, telling me, you know what? what you're looking for, the peace you need is inside. And I wasn't looking for no peace. I liked to be bad. I liked doing what I was doing. I was making plenty of money. I walked a little more towards my friend's car. Again, I had this feeling like a magnet pulling me. I went back into this here church and swallowed my pride, which I would never do. I don't care. I'd rather cut my fingers off first. I ain't giving in to no man, no nothing. It's the way I was brought up. It's the way I am. I went over to the pastor, and I can't believe I'm telling this guy, I'm asking him, would you pray with me? And he said to me, you know something? He said, you think you brought this guy here? Jesus used this guy to bring you here. You're the one that needs him. And these guys stood around me and they prayed with me. And I felt like there was a building on me, a truck on me, and I just felt the Lord take everything out of me. Everything bad out of me. And I bawled crying. I would never cry in front of anybody. Not even in front of my wife. Never. And I just felt like a totally new person. But the point was, they were praying with me, but they never gave me the gospel of Jesus Christ. But I had that voice in my head of my mother all those years telling me, the only way to heaven is through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
The only way to talk to the Father is through Jesus Christ. So I was praying to Jesus myself to come into my heart, and he did. And from that day forward, my life did a 360. Anybody that owed me money in the street, I told everybody, whatever you owe me, you pay me the principal. If you don't pay me the principal, that's fine. They all thought I was flipping my lid. I went to one of the social clubs that I used to frequent daily, and I started handing people Bibles. They looked at me like I was whacked out. And I told them, I said, listen, I'm telling you, this is the way. You just have no idea. And I continued to go there for a couple of weeks. I couldn't just break away. I had to sort of ease out of the situation because you really don't walk away from what I walked away from and live to talk about it. And as I went back there time and time again, I started seeing the people that I looked up to for what they really was. And then I knew what I really was. And that tore me up. That I did the things that I did. I was just like them, no better. Except God took me out of the trash and made me to what I am today. Until today, my children still sign the cards, whether it be Christmas, my birthday. Dad, we don't love you for the man you are, but we love you for the man you are. And I lost everything after that because I wasn't earning the street. I had to leave the union because of legal reasons. And I had no income. I lost a home. I lost a restaurant. I lost everything. And I just said, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I got an apartment. We had a house from day one. My kids never knew what it was to be in an apartment. I bought my first house when I was 21 or 22 years old.
Wow.
And while we were living in an apartment, God was showing me the things he was doing in my life. And I got sick. I used to be almost 400 pounds. I had diabetes really bad. And my kidneys were failing. My older brother was already on dialysis. And the doctors were telling me, you're going to have to go on dialysis yourself. And it's like, why me? Why me? And then I stopped in between the why me's. And I said, Lord, you know what? If you're going to get glory out of it, let it be. But if it's not going to bring you glory, please take it from me. I went to the doctors a few more times, and then one night the doctor's office called. They wanted to see me right away, and they wanted me to bring my wife with me. I figured this was it. I walked into the doctor's office, one of the best nephrologists on Staten Island. And he said, no, not in the examining room. I want you to go into my office. I went to his office. I'm sitting there. And I'm waiting for him to say, look, we're going to have to start dialysis. But it was okay with me because I knew the Lord was in control.
Yes.
He comes in with my chart. And he says, you know something? I'm practicing 40 years. I've never seen something like this. I said, what's wrong? He said, that's the point. Well, the test came back negative this time.
Oh, yeah.
The Lord healed my kidneys. There was no coincidence. There was no mistakes prior to that because my brother died at 49 years old from that. So the Lord just showed me. I trusted him and I said, it's okay with me. I looked at Jesus, what he told his Father before he went to the cross. He didn't want to drink the cup, but he said by his Father's will. And that's what I did. I learned from reading. It's God's will. It's not what we want.
Amen.
We could want anything, and we can ask for anything. And we get the answer, even if we think we didn't. The answer might be not right now, or straight out no. But believe it, you got an answer. No prayer goes unheard. And I'm a walking, living testimony to that.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.